Meet Yves Trudeau, the notorious assassin and former Hells Angels member whose dark journey and cooperation with authorities shocked Canada. Yves Trudeau. Yves Trudeau, widely recognized as Apache and the Mad Bomber, was a notorious outlaw biker, contract killer, and a former member of the North Chapter's Hells Angels in Lévis, Quebec. Renowned for her deadly skills, she held the position of the club's top assassin and played a significant role in numerous biker conflicts that shaped Canadian history. Among her notable engagements were the Popeyes Devil's Discipline War, the Satan's Choice Popeyes War, and the infamous First Biker War. Background: Quebec, a province in Canada, underwent a transformative period known as the Grande Noirceur, or the Great Darkness, from 1936 to 1960. During this time, Quebec was ruled by the ultra-conservative Catholic Union National Party, and the society was characterized by its strong conservative values. In fact, it was considered one of the most conservative societies in North America. However, everything changed after the provincial election of 1960 when the Union National Party was defeated by the Quebec Liberals. This marked the beginning of sweeping changes known as the Quiet Revolution. In just a decade, Quebec transformed from one of the most conservative societies in North America to one of the most liberal. The Quiet Revolution was a reaction against the medieval Catholic social norms that had dominated during the Grande Noirceur. Quebec embraced a culture of hedonism, with a significant increase in illegitimate births and drug use compared to English Canada. During the 1960s, outlaw motorcycle clubs gained immense popularity in Quebec. French-Canadian young men saw the outlaw biker culture as a symbol of freedom, rebellion, and machismo. By 1968, the province, often referred to as La Belle Province, had 350 outlaw biker clubs. However, the rise in popularity of outlaw biker clubs in Quebec came with a degree of violence and brutality unlike anything seen in the rest of Canada. With numerous clubs vying for a share of organized crime activities, conflicts between the different biker groups became commonplace. As a result, Quebec gained a notorious reputation as the red zone within the outlaw biker world. Popeyes Moto Club. Popeyes Moto Club was known for its notorious reputation as Quebec's most violent outlaw biker gang. They were involved in gruesome acts of violence, catching the attention of the Hells Angels, which eventually led to the transformation of Canada's first Hells Angels chapter. The Popeyes also acted as hitmen for the Montreal Mafia, carrying out cold-blooded slayings on their behalf. Little did anyone know that a young Trudeau, who joined the Popeye Motor Club in 1968, would later become one of Canada's most infamous contract killers. Trudeau's involvement with the Popeyes Motor Club in 1968 marked the beginning of his journey into a world of darkness and violence. He embraced the world of an assassin, honing his skills with explosive and earning a reputation as a meticulous and professional hitman. His services were in high demand, and he gained the nickname Apache due to his methodical approach. As time passed, the Hells Angels rose to power, and Trudeau found himself assigned to the wild and reckless North Chapter, known for their excessive drug use and volatile behavior. In the winter of '78, a devastating brawl erupted between the Hells Angels and their bitter rivals, the Outlaws, resulting in a tragic loss of life and injuries. Shockingly, Trudeau himself was behind the wheel of a green car that opened fire on the Outlaws, solidifying his place as one of the founding members of the Hells Angels in Quebec. Over the years, the Hells Angels continued to expand their power and influence, and Trudeau found himself part of the North Chapter, where drug use and violence reached alarming levels. The violent clash between the Hells Angels and the Outlaws in '78 marked a turning point in Trudeau's dark journey. He was no longer just an enforcer, but an active participant in a brutal war for control of Montreal's drug trade. Trudeau, though not fitting the stereotypical biker image, stood as the club's most prolific slayer, responsible for eliminating numerous rivals. He worked closely with the West End Gang, a powerful group controlling the drug trade, and showed no mercy in carrying out their requests. In total, Trudeau proclaimed the lives of 43 individuals between 1970 and 1985, earning him the notorious Filthy Few patch. Lennoxville Massacre. The Lennoxville Massacre was a dark chapter in the life of Trudeau, the Hells Angels' most prolific hitman. However, he wasn't immune to the allure of greed. In 1985, Alan the Weasel Ross, chief of the West End gang, offered Trudeau a staggering $200,000 to eliminate his predecessor. Seduced by the promise of wealth, Trudeau accepted $25,000 as an advance payment. But when he tried to collect the rest of the money, Ross cunningly redirected him to the Hells Angels chapter in Halifax and Sorel. The allure of money and the grip of addiction led Trudeau down a treacherous path. He had used some of the payments to fuel his cocaine addiction, leaving him in a precarious situation. The president of Halifax chapter, David Wolfe Carroll Patriot, owed him a substantial sum of $98,000. But Trudeau's actions had consequences. The Halifax chapter, already resentful of the unruly North chapter, decided to take matters into their own hands. The Lennoxville massacre was the brutal result of their decision, as 5 members of the North chapter were shot and dumped in the St. Lawrence River. The Lennoxville massacre marked a turning point for the Hells Angels. They realized they needed to shift their focus from rowdy bikers to savvy businessmen. No longer content with wild partying and drug-fueled weekends, they aimed to become a more organized and ruthless organization. By 1982, the transformation was evident, and the Hells Angels was involved in a high-level drug deals, adopting a more businesslike approach. The Lennoxville Purge further solidified this change in attitude. Crown Witness. As the end drew near for Trudeau, the notorious enforcer known as Apache, he found himself in a dire situation. Fresh out of a detox center, he discovered that the Hells Angels had seized his motorcycle and a substantial sum of $46,000. Determined to reclaim what was rightfully his, he was presented with a grim ultimatum by the gang. He had to eliminate 2 individuals to earn back his prized possessions. Trudeau, driven by desperate need to regain his belongings, embarked on a dark and dangerous path. He successfully carried out the slaying of one of his targets, and as a result, the Hells Angels returned his motorcycle. However, he knew that his fate was sealed. The gang had put a staggering $50,000 bounty on his head. With his days numbered, Trudeau made a life-altering decision. He chose to become a police informant and a crucial witness for the government. In 1985, Trudeau pleaded guilty to an astonishing 43 counts of manslaughter. While he claimed that he hadn't intentionally taken the lives of his 43 victims, the Crown held a different perspective. They believed that the majority, estimated to be around 30 to 35 victims, were either members of rival motorcycle gangs or their sympathizers. Trudeau's testimony also shed light on 40 other homicides and 15 attempted homicides, further exposing the dark underbelly of organized crime. The plea bargain that Trudeau struck with the Crown was met with controversy. Conservative Senator Pierre, a vocal critic, argued that the deal was too lenient. Nevertheless, as part of his agreement with the government, Trudeau received a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 7 years. In addition, he was provided with financial support, receiving $40,000 over 4 years and a weekly allowance of approximately $35 for cigarettes. Yves Trudeau, once a feared assassin for the Hells Angels, turned police informant and witnessed the dark underbelly of organized crime. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe for more videos. See you next time.